By the time I arrive at Beccles-Morrison's, I'm already in a heightened state of anxiety. This is partly due to having come via the Norfolk and Norwich Hospital, where I'd had an ultrasound scan on my neck, please let's not get excited, in the middle of a pandemic. Being bang in the middle of Cummings's curve, I was understandably apprehensive about going into the proverbial heart of darkness. In prep, I armed myself with gloves, a scarf, and a superior pink tartan mask called the Lady Macbeth. Yeah, jury's still out on whether they're effective, irrespective of endless medical advice confirming they are, but if I can cover my arse by covering my mouth, I'm all for it. We arrived early. Obviously, I wasn't going to risk a single extra minute in COVID land, plus I'd already armed myself with PPE, which, whilst efficient at keeping viruses out, is equally efficient at keeping heat in, so I remained in the car. Consequently, when I checked in at the desk 20 minutes later, I looked like an Israeli insurgent who'd mistakenly turned up for a desert survival course with the kit list from snowboarding. I noticed that none of the receptionist staff were wearing masks or gloves. They gave me an odd look. I was sweating profusely at this point, so that was understandable. As I made my way through the winding corridors, I passed at least 6 medical staff. None of them had masks on. All of them gave me the side eye. At this point, the sheer surface area of scarf wrapped around my body, coupled with the mask, made me look like the Michelin Man caught in the midst of a mustard gas attack, so this was reasonable. I continued walking. 2 patients were sat on a bench by a notice board. They were clearly sick, vulnerable, and unmasked. As I walked past, they breathed in great clumps of corridor air with reckless abandon. They pointed at my mask in alarm and whispered to each other. Suddenly, the heat of their looks combined with the heat of my PPE was unbearable. I had to take 5 minutes against a wall in order to regulate my breathing. Obviously, I couldn't actually breathe at all, but it was nice to go through the motions. I straightened up, focused on walking forwards, and eventually arrived at the ultrasound desk. 3 secretaries sat typing, unmasked, ungloved, ungelled. As I approached, they peered disdainfully at my protective swaddling. I smiled back, not that they could tell. Have I got this wrong? The NHS can't be wrong. The NHS can be wrong. I know this because when I was 23, a specialist told me I would A, never get better, and B, never get out of bed. Yet here I am out of bed and writing this. I'm the only one in this place wearing a mask. That's odd, because if anyone would be setting the mask precedent in the midst of the worst global health crisis since the Spanish flu, it would be a hospital, would it not? A pandemic is clearly not happening. Do they know we're in the middle of a pandemic? Well, perhaps they don't. Well, it is possible, what with people consuming their news triple filtered from the Cambridge Analytica distillery. The secretaries looked like millennials. I doubt they're reading the broadsheets in the way to work. No, they'd know by the memes alone. Been a great time for memes. Every cloud. Oh God. How embarrassing. I've completely overreacted. One bloke in Thorpe Ness had a chesty cough, and here I am dropping 50 quid on Which's best mask of 2019. It's the Cambridge Mask Pro, if you're interested. I'm living in a myth. Having spun the entire narrative to justify my need to live in interesting times, an elaborate ego death has been planned for me. I am Theseus. My maze is the hallowed halls of Norfolk and Norwich's outpatients department, and the triple-headed secretary is my minotaur. Thank you. Thank you, God. I am listening. I am learning. Right. Damage limitation. Damage limitation. Shove the mask in your bag, throw the gloves in your bin, and tenderly clutch your heart in the hope that people think you're cold-blooded. Thus explaining the swaddling in June. I take a massive gulp of breath to prove myself to the secretaries. I am listening. I am learning. It isn't enough. I run over to the magazine stash, pick up Take a Break and caress each page, eyeballing the secretaries as I go. The specialist calls my name. To celebrate, I lick the spine of Beatrice and Eugenie's joint engagement special. Mr. Bunting and I laugh as he tells me he's just on a couple of lines of COVID from the Petri dishes in the staff room as a pick-me-up. To think that just 1 hour ago I thought there was a pandemic on. A really friendly nurse guides me to the ultrasound room. We stood at the door, hands on the handle, when she says, "Oh God, I completely forgot to tell you to gel your hands at the station. Quick, quick. Oh, you shouldn't have touched any of the doors. Oh, Jesus, I'll have to get one of the team to anti-back the corridor." Oh. Oh, I'm so sorry. We've got to remain vigilant with the pandemic on. Fingers crossed our PPE arrives next week. We're counting down the days. So yeah, that is partly why I'm feeling anxious in the car park of Beccles Morrison's. The other factor is that I don't know the layout of Beccles Morrison's. If I had to break into any one of my local supermarkets, based on memorising the blueprint alone, it would be Pleasurewood Hills Tesco, Riverside Asda and Patefield Morrison's, in that order. Beccles Morrison's is a foreign country. This would not usually be a problem, but the pandemic arrow system has ensured that you have to know the blueprint of the store if you want to shop there. If you miss the cereal you require on aisle 6 and you're currently in aisle 8, you can never go back. If that item was essential to the nutrition and survival of your family, you just die. My dad, having seen enough of the Russian roulette aisle system to know what's up, says that he will remain in the safety of his car. He is, however, willing to offer me up as a tribune, in spite of the fact I've just come out of hospital, and passes me his shopping list. I arm myself with PPE, queue and enter dry goods. I'm already flustered. People are breathing down my neck, people are not sticking to the floor plan, and people are taking the specialist foods that I need to eat on my doctor-approved nutrition plan for the good of my health. There is no way in hell that 90% of this shop requires gluten-free oats. We are in Beccles though, aren't we? So yeah, not that weird. Health requirements, coupled with hundreds of gluten-free produce dealers, means that by the end of my shop, nothing in my trolley resembles its true form. The worst offending item is the dried spaghetti made from organic black beans. There is no pasta involved at all. They look like gentle tapeworms. I recently read that watching videos where people cut into realistic-looking objects, a tennis ball, a bar of soap, a baby, to discover that they are in fact cake, as per the recent internet craze, causes a strong spike in the stress hormone cortisol. It goes against our basic instincts. It's wrong. It's the same with free-from foods. Who amongst us wants to open a box of Frosties to discover that, surprise, they're now made from ancient grains harvested via the adrenal gland of a field mouse? Psychopaths. That's who. I'm at the till. I finish unloading my fruit and veg and move on to my dry goods. My instant rice packets have barely touched the conveyor belt when the cashier shouts, "Illegal item!" I laugh, thinking she's joking. There's a stony silence from the cashier and the customers behind me. "Morrison's rationing came in this morning." Okay. "You can only have 2 items per person of restricted items." Okay. "Rice is restricted." Right, but I've only got these tiny sachets. Everything else was sold out. "Doesn't matter, you're only allowed 2. It's done by amount of items and not weight. This is my big shop for the whole week. The people who came in early got all the massive family packs. This is crazy." "Remove the sachet." I've got 3 singular Uncle Ben's sachets. That's a combined total of 600 grams of rice for 2 adults across 7 days. They're tiny. That woman over there has got 9 kilos of rice, 3 separate 3-kilo bags. She's dragging it along the floor now. Her husband is meeting her out the back with a forklift truck to take it home. "If you don't remove the item, I'm calling security." What the fuck? Indignant rage burned inside of me, the irony being that the rice packets aren't even rice, but a bulgur wheat spelt couscous mix. I don't want this rice. I wanted pasta, but you motherfuckers have taken all the free-from produce to feed your snotty kids, but ha! Joke's on you, because when the supermarkets truly run out of food, you'll be left with nothing but your spelt bread. Oh, Then you'll realise just how dry and tasteless it really is. At that point, you'll have no other option but to coolly contemplate suicide, because the sweet release of death will be preferable to watching your family eat one bite more of free from food. But I don't say that, because that's snobby, ridiculous and egotistical, isn't it, Charlotte? Oh, don't tell me this is another fucking ego death. 2 in one day. Oh, the universe is up to tricks today. The bloke behind me gives me a patronising smile. He has 18 packs of pink wafers in his trolley, but biscuits aren't restricted, so that counts as looking out for your family. How nice. Why am I getting penalised for being healthy? Christ, this must be how vegans feel all the time. That's 42.68, please. Oh God. My purse, I've left it in the car. It's at this heightened moment, when 7 customers and a cashier are staring me down for being greedy, breaking the rules and disorganised, that I make peace with the fact I could be the first and only person to get glassed at Beccles Morrison's. I'm so sorry! I shout at them through my mask. Please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me. I do the British apologist run to the car. It's so bloody hot. What I'd give to be Prince Andrew now, sprinting through Murray's car park in a mask and a scarf and not even breaking a sweat. I'm back. I throw my card at the contactless machine and pivot. I've got seconds before they turn. I push my trolley out the door with all of my body weight. I'm in the car park. I run to the car, throw the bags in the back. I leave the trolley, there's no time. In the wing mirror, I can see the braying mob hurtling towards me. Trolleys in front, security behind, all with eyes on me. Traitor! They scream. Dad looks bemused. I slam on my seatbelt. They're taking photos of me on their phones, uploading them onto Lowestoft One Hell of a Town's Facebook page with the name "Spotted at Morrison's with 3 illegal sachets. Name and shame. So sick of selfish people! 3 exclamation marks. Dad, these people are going to kill me. I can't tell you why, just that it involves rice that isn't actually rice, it's a bulgur wheat mix, but right now that's irrelevant. Drive, quickly, go, 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 go! We're out. We're out. We're cruising down the A146, I'm alive. God, I guess people really weren't joking when they said stay home, stay safe, were they?